Our Fox 13 pollster has nailed the big races in Florida for the past 7 years, and he just finished up his final poll before Election Day. Our political editor, Craig Patrick, has the new numbers hot off the press, so pray tell, you need to tell us what Matt Towery is predicting this time.
We will, and I'll start with a little context. As you mentioned, he's been one of the most accurate pollsters in the nation. In fact, his poll numbers in 2020 came from 0.49% of the actual results. There's the setup. Now, here are the actual numbers, the final poll, starting with the race for United States Senate in Florida. Here, our final Fox 13 poll shows Senator Marco Rubio, the incumbent Republican, with a 6-point lead, 51-45, with 2.5% undecided. Let's now move on to the race for governor. Here, it's a wider margin. Governor Ron Desantis leads Charlie Crist by 10 points, 53-43, with 3.4% undecided. And the movement that we're seeing in this polling is turning in the Republicans' favor, especially within the past month, at the same time that Republicans took momentum across the nation. And here's Matt's take.
Something happened 3.5 weeks ago. I can almost tell you exactly when these races just completely turned around the country.
Well, 3.5 weeks ago, that would be the consumer price index numbers that showed that inflation appears to be re-accelerating. Do you think that's it?
I think that is it. I think it's a combination of that. People start to concentrate more, as we say, after Labor Day, and they start looking at the various aspects of what's affecting them individually as voters and in their lives. And I think all of that sort of just came together for some reason. But it's interesting because it survived individual scandals. I mean, for example, we're polling for Fox 5 in Atlanta, and Herschel Walker, each time a bad thing comes out about him, his numbers go up.
What's also striking and unique to Florida is that the gender gap in which women historically favor Democrats has all but disappeared, even as the Democratic candidates focus on their support for abortion rights.
I don't think abortion is an issue in the state of Florida this year for the vast majority of voters, because for the first time, and you and I have done a lot of polls in the state, you've seen many, and I've conducted a large number. I've rarely seen a situation where the gender gap on the female side is as little as it is in these races. Normally, a female candidate nominee for a governor, U.S. Senate, will carry about a 15-point margin advantage versus their Republican opponent. And then it flips the other way with men, and that's what gives us our close races in Florida. This time, it's melted down to about a 4-point advantage among women voters for Demings, which is basically nothing.
How do you explain that?
I don't know. I mean, actually, I'm seeing a much bigger gender gap in my polls for Fox affiliates, for example, in Pennsylvania or Arizona, some of the really competitive states like Georgia. But here in Florida, the gender gap has just gone down to nothing. I think in part because we tend to be a state that focuses a little more on economic issues, because we're obviously a big travel, hospitality type state, and that seems to be very important to us. So maybe pocketbook issues have become more important to people in Florida than perhaps some other states where they don't depend as much on a strong economy to keep the main industries that they have moving.
At the very same time that Crist and Demings, Crist in particular, have pressed the issue of abortion front and center. You combine that with the fact that Republicans have a significant advantage in voter registration. That's different from years past in which Democrats used to have that advantage, and Republicans have an advantage in the early vote turnout we're seeing so far, and surprising progress in Miami-Dade in South Florida in particular. All of that suggests that you have Governor Desantis and Senator Marco Rubio as very, very heavy favorites, although Crist and Demings both can pull upsets. But to do that, it would have to drive Democratic turnout much, much higher than the pollsters think. And Democrats have a history in Florida of doing just the opposite, especially in mid-years.
Wow. This is very interesting. What about the president's approval ratings? Where are they right now in Florida specifically?
Right now, 42% approve, 57% disapprove, so he is underwater and growing increasingly underwater from our September survey, which is an indication that the president's lack of approval or his unpopular, unfavorable rating may in fact be dragging down Crist and Demings in the state of Florida.
All right. Election day coming up fast. Thank you, Craig.